In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, I bear witness there is no God but God, and God is the only one who has the right to be worshipped. I also bear witness that Prophet Moses, Prophet Jesus, and Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon them, are the messengers of God. And I seek refuge in Allah from the rejected Satan. So greetings and peace, and thanks for tuning in. May the peace and blessings of Allah be with you. So in these videos, we prepare for the coming of Imam Mahdi, as well as the second coming of Jesus, peace and blessings be upon them, also known as the Mashiachs. So we're going to be looking at the time before the Day of Judgment, how to prepare for it, and the coming of Imam Mahdi, as well as the second coming of Jesus, peace and blessings be upon him, also known as the Mashiachs. We've got hadiths, we've got Quran verses, we've got the 10 major signs before the Day of Judgment, we've got what's going to occur, the events on the Day of Judgment, what is the Day of Judgment, the details about that event, about the Day of Judgment. So we've got a lot of information. Imam Mahdi seems to be the trigger point for these 10 major signs to occur. Imam Mahdi will appear. He's not mentioned in the 10 major signs, but we know that Dajjal will appear. Isa, son of Mary, will descend from a white minaret in Damascus. We know that Gog and Magog will be let loose when Isa, son of Mary, after he kills the Dajjal. So Imam Mahdi seems to be the trigger point for the Day of Judgment, is why I include all this information in one video. So preparing for Imam Mahdi, Jesus before the Day of Judgment. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, said, this life will not come to an end until a man from my family, whose name will be like mine, which is referring to Imam Mahdi, would fill this earth with justice that has been filled with oppression, and he will rule for 7 years. So Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, mentioned that Imam Mahdi is so important that Allah would extend the life of this world, will extend the Day of Judgment before the Day of Judgment, will send life before the Day of Judgment for this man to rise, who would fill the earth with justice as it was previously filled with oppression. So this really emphasizes the importance of Imam Mahdi, and that the Day of Judgment will not occur until Imam Mahdi, peace and blessings be upon him, rules the earth and fills the earth with justice, inshallah. So Jabir, who I believe is a companion of Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, narrated that the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, said, a group of my nation will continue to prevail on the truth until the Day of Judgment, that Isa bin Maryam, which is Jesus, son of Mary, will descend, and their emir, leader, would say to him, which is Imam Mahdi, come and lead us in prayer. And he, Isa, Jesus, would reply, no, Allah has honored this ummah, this nation, by putting some of you emirs, leaders, over the others. So we know that Jesus will descend, will help Imam Mahdi overcome the forces of the Dajjal, and as well come over the forces of Gog and Magog. And that, also mentioned that there's always going to be a group of people that will prevail on the truth till the Day of Judgment. And I hope to be a part of that group, and some of the reasons why I make these videos. So we're going to go to some Quran verses. And when you judge between the people, you should judge with justice. So Allah says in chapter 4, verse 58, surely Allah commands you to make over the trust, such as the affairs of the state, to those who are competent to it, and that when you judge between the people, you should judge with justice. That which Allah exhorts you to do is best indeed. Allah is all-hearing, all-seeing. So Allah says here, Allah commands you to make over the trust, such as the affairs of the state, to those who are competent to it. So it is a commandment of Allah that we appoint a leader like the Khalifa, which will inshallah be Imam Mahdi, and Jesus, son of Mary, in the future, that these are very competent individuals. We know from the hadith that Imam Mahdi will be the most rightly guided. We know Jesus, peace and blessings be upon him, is a prophet of Allah. So these will most likely be the most rightly guided, most competent to fulfill the job of Khalifa, of ruler of the believers. So judge between the people enlightened by that knowledge which Allah has revealed. Allah says in chapter 4, verse 105, we have surely revealed to you this perfect book, comprising the truth, that you judge between the people enlightened by that knowledge which Allah has given you, and do not become a partisan of the dishonest. So we know Imam Mahdi, as well as Jesus, peace and blessings be upon him, will judge according to the laws and commandments that Allah has revealed in this perfect book, the Quran, and will judge the people enlightened with that knowledge. Whoever does not judge according to the law which Allah has revealed, it is these who are the very unjust. Allah says in chapter 5, verse 45, and therein we laid down the following law for them, the Jews, life for life, eye for eye, and nose for nose, and ear for ear, and tooth for tooth, and for other injuries, and equitable retaliation. But he who chooses to forgo the right thereto for the sake of Allah, it shall be an expiation of sins for him. And whoever does not judge according to the law which Allah has revealed, it is these who are the very unjust. So Allah has prescribed laws and commandments, and they're all in the same, like He revealed in the Torah, revealed in the Gospels of Jesus, the Evangel, revealed laws and commandments within the Quran, and these are all in the same course. And it is those who do not judge according to these divine laws and commandments, Allah is saying they are very unjust. Now, we can see that most of the world, pretty much all the world, do not judge according to the laws and commandments of the Most High God, unique creator of all that exists. And there's lots of corruption, there's lots of injustice in the world because of that. So Allah is just stating the obvious. Evil they judge who do evil deeds and think that they will escape our punishment. So Allah says in chapter 24, verse 4, O do those who do evil deeds think that they will escape our punishment? How ill they judge. So we live in a cause and effect universe. Evil actions will be recompensed as well as good deeds will be recompensed as well. So Allah will not treat those who submit to His will as He treated those who sever their connection with Him. So Allah says in chapter 68, verse 34, verse 36, and they are indeed gardens of bliss with their Lord for those who are dutiful, who carefully guard against evil. And are we to treat those who submit to our will as we treat those who sever their connection with us? What is wrong with you? How ill you judge. So Allah, the way Allah judges is that He rewards the good and He punishes the evildoers. On the day of judgment, every person shall come to know what evil they should have done and what good actions they should have done. So Allah says in chapter 82, verse 5, every person shall know then what evil actions they should not have done, he has committed, and what good actions he should have done, he has omitted. So now we're going to look at the 10 major signs before the day of judgment. These will, once one of these major signs have been executed, you can say, or manifested, that there'll be like, it's narrated that it'll be like a pearl necklace that breaks. The beads will come off very quickly one after the other. So when one of these signs are manifested, then they will come one after the other. So one, a huge black cloud of smoke will cover the earth. And Allah talked about this in the Quran. And wait for you for that day when the sky will bring forth a visible smoke covering the people. This will be a painful torment. Quran chapter 44, verse 10 through 11. So this smoke could be nuclear fallout, could be major forest fires around the globe, filling the air with carbon, smoke, and ash and stuff like that. It could be volcano smoke as well. Those all could be very painful torments. So number 2, 3 sinkings of the earth, one in the east, one sinking in the west, and one sinking in the Arabian Peninsula. So I think these will be followed by a very violent earthquake and will create major sinkings of the earth in those 3 areas. Number 4 is the coming of the Dajjal, the Antichrist. He shall appear with great powers as a one-eyed man, with his right eye blind and deformed like a grape. Although believers will not be deceived, he will claim to be God, to hold the keys of heaven and hell, and will lead many astray. In reality, his heaven is hell, and his hell is heaven. The Dajjal will be followed by 70,000 Jews of Isfahan wearing Persian shawls. Number 5, the return of Isa, Jesus, the son of Mary, to kill the Dajjal and also defeat the forces of Gog and Magog. Number 6, I think I'm on 6, 6 or 7. The tribes of Gog and Magog, they will ravage the earth, drink all the water of Lake Tiberias, and kill the believers in their way. Jesus, Imam, Mahdi, and the believers will go on top of a mountain and pray for the destruction of Gog and Magog. God will eventually send disease and worms to wipe them out. So the believers, with Jesus leading them, possibly Imam Mahdi being among them as well, we don't know for sure, will go up and hide, will seek refuge within a mountain, and will pray to Allah for the destruction of Gog and Magog. And Allah will send down some sort of disease, pestilence, some sort of plague that will ravage and wipe out the forces of Gog and Magog, which from my studies are the Western nations of this world today. Number 8, the sun will rise from the west. So we know the sun usually rises from the east, so something will happen. We're not exactly sure what will occur. Will it be, a pole shift? Will the earth spin in a different direction? We're not exactly sure. Number 9, the beast of the earth. God says in the Quran that when the word of torment is fulfilled against them, we shall bring out from the earth a beast to them, which will speak to them, because mankind believe not with certainty in our signs. Allah says in chapter 27, verse 82 in the Quran. So this will be some sort of beast-like creature, maybe like a like a Bigfoot or something. I'm not sure what exactly. It's going to be a hairy beast. Will have intelligence and be able to speak to the people, and will help people realize that this is a true sign and one of the signs of Allah. So the last on the list is a fire that will gather the people. Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, said, at the end of which fire would burn forth from Yemen and would drive people to the place of their assembly. So this is some sort of fire that will break out and will drive people to their assembly before the Day of Judgment. So now we're going to know what is the Day of Judgment. These are some of the Quran verses that help us understand what the Day of Judgment is, what to expect, some of the events and activities that will occur on the Day of Judgment. So Allah says in chapter 82, verse 17 through 19, which should make you know what the day of requital. Again, we repeat, how can you know what the day of requital is? It is the day when no person shall be able to do anything for another. On that day, the absolute judgment of every sort shall entirely belong to Allah. So it's pretty clear. No one will be able to intercess for you. You will not be able to get help from any of your family or money or anything. Nothing will be able to help you except for Allah, basically. If Allah can bestow an intercessor on you, like Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, if Allah wills. If not, Allah, as He says, you'll have complete judgment of every sort on that day entirely. So, events on the Day of Judgment, Allah says in chapter 99, verse 1 through 8, and when the earth is shaken with its violent shaking, and when the earth shall throw up all her treasures, and when a person will say in bewilderment at the extraordinary happenings on the earth, what is the matter with her? That day she will relate all her news pertaining to every action done in secret on it, for your Lord will have inspired her to do so. On that day of reckoning, all people will come forth in various groups to be shown the results of their deeds, And whosoever has done so much as an atom's weight of good will see the good result of it. And similarly, whosoever has done so much as an atom's weight of evil shall also see it. So these are some details about the Day of Judgment. Allah says in chapter 101, verses 1 through 11, the disastrous rattling of this life as seen in warfare is sure to visit the world. How very terrible is the disastrous rattling! What should make you know how very severe the disastering rattling is? On that day people shall be in great confusion and distress, like moths scattered, and the mountains shall look like charted wool. Now, as for the person whose scales of virtue are heavy, and good deeds are preponderant, shall have a pleasant life. But as for the person whose scales of good deeds are light and of no account, the abyss Jehannam shall then be a nursing mother to him till the souls are completely cleansed of the taint of sin and they are reborn. Which should make you know what the abyss is. It is a blazing fire for burning out all the dross that people collect by leading a sinful life in this world. So this will be the climax of the earth experience. This will ultimately be the end of the earth. The mountains will turn into wool. The earth will become more flat. The earth will reveal all its secrets, will spout out all its treasures, and this will be the Day of Judgment, where all souls that existed on the earth will be resurrected. Even the animals and other creatures will be resurrected at that time, and will be able to know each other's good deeds and bad deeds. Allah will give us all a book. If you're given in your left hand, that's going to be very negative, and if you receive your book in your right hand, that's going to be very positive. That means your deeds will be very good, and if you receive your book in the left hand, that means your deeds will be very negative. So we want to make sure we are rightly guided. We want to make sure we implement Allah's divine knowledge in His laws and commandments and embody them in our life. That we are maintaining our connection with Allah through prayers, through charity, being good to others by doing good deeds, by doing what Allah makes lawful, staying away from the unlawful things that Allah forbids, by spreading His knowledge far and wide to others. There's many amount of good deeds that we can do, so that when the Day of Judgment arrives, that we will be confident on that day that we'll have the protection of Allah, and that we know that we'll be entering into paradise, inshallah, and into the highest ranks of paradise, closest to Allah, the unique creator of all that exists, inshallah. And by knowing all this, and maybe one of the reasons of the coming of Imam Mahdi, as well as the second coming of Jesus, peace and blessings be upon him, is helping people prepare for that time, to help the believers up their rewards, up their knowledge before the end of the world and the Day of Judgment begins. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you take Allah as your shield, and may the peace and blessings of Allah be with you. Take care so much. Peace.